Hello and welcome to CVAT Academy, your go-to training hub for mastering data annotation with CVAT. In this video, we'll explore the annotation workspace. You'll learn how to adjust key settings, use the main toolbar and annotation tools, manage objects and labels, and fine-tune the visual display of your annotations. Let's get started. Now, let's take a look at the annotation interface. To enter it, we open a job. This is where the main annotation work happens. Here we can annotate images, review annotations, or correct them. Let's start with one of the most important things in any annotation tool, shortcuts. Shortcuts help us work much more efficiently. To view all available shortcuts, press F1. This opens a list of all shortcuts you can use during your work. Next, let's go to the settings. You can open the settings by clicking on your username and selecting Settings, or by simply pressing F2. The settings are divided into 3 tabs. The first tab is Player. Here, you can adjust settings related to image display and the player itself. For example, enabling this option allows tasks you previously opened to load faster. You can also change the player step. This is useful for video annotation when interpolation is used. It allows you to jump forward or backward by a set number of frames. Next, you can control the player speed. Here you can change the canvas background color. There are also 4 additional toggles. This one resets the image size when switching frames. When enabled, zoom resets with every frame change. When disabled, zoom stays the same as you move between frames. Smooth image allows you to blur the pixels slightly to reduce pixelation. Rotate all images allows you to rotate all images within the task. This can be useful when images are uploaded in an inconvenient orientation. Once enabled, you can rotate the images using Image Rotation tool. When disabled, only the current image will rotate. The last toggle allows you to display deleted images. When disabled, deleted images are hidden and skipped during navigation. When enabled, you will see them grayed out with the label Image Removed. You can restore them if needed. Any annotations linked to restored images will also be recovered. Now let's return to the settings and open the Workspace tab. This tab contains settings and features related to the annotation process. In this video, we won't cover every annotation function in detail. Those will be explained in later lessons. For now, let's review just a few important options. Here you can enable autosave and set how often your work will be automatically saved. You can also display additional information for annotated objects directly on the frame. By default, this information appears when you hover your mouse over an object. Using context of a text, you can select which details to show. For example, ID, label, and attributes are commonly used. You can also adjust the size and position of the text. When you hover over an object, the selected details are shown, such as the label, ID, and attributes. The last tab is Shortcuts. Here you can change or assign custom keys for any shortcut. Find the shortcut you want, click on the field, and press your chosen key, or a combination using Ctrl, Alt, or Shift. You can also reset changes at any time. There are a few more useful settings available during annotation. At the bottom of the interface, click the arrow to open additional image settings. Here you can activate a grid and customize its appearance. You can also adjust brightness, contrast, saturation, and gamma. For example, if an image is too dark, you can increase brightness and gamma to better see the details. Finally, let's look at the appearance settings located here. These settings allow you to customize how annotated objects are displayed. By default, color by is set to label. The colors match those assigned when the task was created. You can also select Instance, which assigns each object a random color that can be manually adjusted. If you select Group, the display works as follows. Ungrouped objects are shown in white. Grouped objects share a common color for each group. Next, the opacity setting controls object transparency. Lower values make objects more transparent. The maximum value makes them fully opaque. Selected opacity adjusts the transparency of the object your mouse is currently hovering over. These two sliders usually work together. For example, you can set opacity to 0 and selected opacity to 50% to highlight only the active object. Or do the opposite, depending on your preference. Outlined borders change the object's border color to any color you choose. By default, it's black, but you can click the color picker to select any other color. This setting is especially useful when annotating with polygons. By default, polygon lines are black, which can make them hard to see on dark images. Changing the outlined borders color, for example to red, makes it easier to accurately place polygon points. Show bitmap highlights annotated regions of the image. White for annotated areas and black for empty ones. This is especially helpful for tasks like semantic segmentation, where you need to annotate every pixel. With this function enabled, you can easily spot any missing areas. Show projection assist when annotating cuboids on 2D images. We'll cover this feature in detail in a separate lecture on cuboid annotation. Now let's take a closer look at the main annotation interface. We are focusing on this entire area, which is divided into 4 sections. The first section is called Navigation Bar and Menu. Here you'll find Menu. Let's open it. In this menu, you have the following options: Upload Annotation, Export Job Dataset, Remove Annotation. This option allows you to delete all annotations in the job, annotations for specific frames, or just keyframes. We will talk more about keyframes in the lesson on tracks. Run Actions. This is a powerful tool that allows you to perform different operations on objects. For example, you can delete only the objects that match a specific filter and specify a frame range if needed, or select from preset options. Propagate Objects, which allows you to copy objects from the current frame to a target frame. There may also be additional AI tools available here, such as trackers. Shape Converter allows you to convert an object from one shape type to another, for example, from rectangle to polygon, from polygon to mask, and vice versa. Open the task, but you can only open it if you have access. Change Job State, where you can manually change the job status. Finish the job, which marks the job as completed and saves it. Next to the menu, you will find 3 buttons: Save, Undo, and Redo. An additional button may also appear while annotating, for example when drawing a polygon, which allows you to finish the current annotation. Then we have the player buttons. The outermost buttons take you to the very first or last frame. The next pair of buttons allows you to jump several frames forward or backward. The number of frames to skip is set in the settings here. The following pair moves one frame forward or backward. If you right-click on one of these buttons, you can select a different frame navigation mode. One mode allows you to jump only to frames that match the active filter. If no filter is set, it will skip frames without annotations and jump directly to frames with annotations. Another mode lets you navigate to frames that do not have any annotations. In the center, there is the play button. Next to the player buttons is the player bar. When you hover over the slider, the frame number is displayed. Here you can see the current frame number and manually enter a frame number to jump directly to it by pressing Enter. By clicking the magnifying glass icon, you can search for frames by file name and instantly jump to the desired frame by selecting it from the list. Below the player bar, you see the file name and 3 buttons. Copy file name. Create a URL for the current frame, which is copied to the clipboard when you click it. Delete frame. If a frame is deleted, you can restore it if needed. To the right, you'll find additional buttons. Full screen mode. Info. When clicked, it opens the job statistics. At the top of the statistics window, you'll see the assigned annotator, start frame number, end frame number, total number of frames in the job. Below, you'll see annotation statistics. This shows the number of annotated objects by label name, by shape type, and by annotation mode. There are two annotation modes, shape and track. On the left is the count for objects annotated in shape mode, followed by a slash and the count for track mode. The Filters button allows you to open the filter window where you can apply rules to display specific objects. Recently used filters show the last 10 filters applied. By clicking Add Rule, you can create and customize new filter rules. There are many filter options available that allow you to control which objects are displayed. You can combine multiple rules and group them. Finally, on the navigation bar, there is the Annotation mode switch. By default, Standard mode is selected. This is the main mode where most annotation work is done. When you click on it, you can select from other modes, such as Attribute Annotation, Single Shape, Tag Annotation, and Review. Each mode will be explained in detail in the upcoming lessons. Next, let's take a look at the Controls sidebar. It is located here and is divided into several sections: the Navigation block, the Zoom block, the Shapes block, and the Edit block. If you are working on a small monitor, part of the Controls sidebar may be hidden. To open it, simply click here. In the Navigation block, we find tools that allow us to interact with the image. By default, the Cursor tool is selected. With it, we can perform basic actions. You can move the image using the left or middle mouse button. If you use the left button to move the image, make sure to click on areas without annotated objects. This is because with the left mouse button, you can also move annotation objects if they are not locked or blocked. To avoid accidentally moving annotations, you can use the middle mouse button, or the next tool called Move the Image. This tool allows you to move the image using the left mouse button without being able to edit annotations in any way. The next tools allow you to rotate the image counterclockwise or clockwise. Let me remind you that CVAT gives you the option to rotate either the current image only or all images in the entire task. Don't forget to enable or disable this option when necessary. Here we have two tools. Let's start with the second one. It allows you to zoom into a selected area. The first tool resets the image size back to its original scale. Additionally, you can zoom in and out using the mouse scroll wheel. The zoom will focus on the point where your cursor is located. A double left click on the image will also reset the zoom to the original size. The Shapes block contains the annotation tools. The first two are AI and Open CV tools, which handle automatic and semi-automatic annotation. Next, we have the Shapes, Rectangle, also known as Bounding Box, Polygon, Polyline, Points, Ellipses, Cuboid, Brushing tools, Tag. When selecting any tool, you need to choose a label for the annotated object, and also select the annotation mode, Shape or Track. In short, Shape mode is used for annotating individual images. Track mode is used for video annotation, where you need to follow objects as they appear throughout the video segment. The track mode is available for almost all shapes, except for tags and the brush tool, where only shape mode can be used. And finally, we have the block that contains the annotation editing tools. It includes merge shapes or tracks, combines several shapes or tracks into one common track. Group shapes groups multiple shapes together. Split track splits one track into two separate tracks. Join masks merges multiple masks into a single mask. Slice tool allows you to split a mask or polygon into two parts along a defined contour. Now let's move on to the Objects sidebar. Here you can see information about annotated objects on the current frame. You can hide the sidebar by clicking this button. First, let's look at the object list. Each object is displayed as a tile containing information, properties, and various functions. Let's take a closer look at one object. The number at the top left corner is the object ID. It's unique and cannot repeat within the same task. You can use this ID to search for the object, for example using filters. Below you see the shape type, such as rectangle, and the annotation mode. In this case, shape. On the right is the object label, which you can change if needed. Below that are the object properties. Lock property locks the object, preventing any further edits. Occluded property indicates that part of the object is occluded. This is used in some tasks and usually specified in the task instructions. Hidden property hides the object visually but does not remove it from annotation. Pin property fixes the object in place but allows you to edit its shape. Further down, you can see the attributes by clicking on Details. If the object has no attributes, the Details button might not be visible. Attributes provide extra information describing the object. For example, for a car, it could be color or body type. For a person, it might be clothing or action. For objects created in track mode, additional properties and buttons appear. The arrows allow you to navigate between keyframes. A filled star indicates a keyframe. An empty star means the frame is not a keyframe. The outside property indicates that the object is absent from the frame. When enabled, the object is considered missing from this frame until it's manually reactivated or until the end of the task. Among all these properties, only outside and occluded directly affect the annotation itself. Properties like lock, hidden, and pin are used only to make the annotation process more convenient. Clicking on the three dots opens additional object actions. Create object URL generates a link that opens this object directly within the task and frame. Make a copy copies the object. Use Ctrl+V to paste it. Propagate copies the object a set number of frames forward or backward, to background and to foreground. Sends the object behind or in front of others. Useful for layered annotations. Remove deletes the object from annotation. Run annotation action allows you to run actions specifically for this object without applying global filters. Above the object list, you can see the total number of objects on the current frame. Sort objects by ID, ascending or descending. Last updated, recently created or modified objects appear on top. Z'd order, layer order, useful when annotations overlap. Below that are three buttons for bulk actions. Apply lock to all objects. Apply hidden to all objects. Show or hide all object attributes. There are also two additional tabs. Labels shows all available labels and their colors. You can lock or hide all objects for a particular label. Items shows the total number of labels in the task. Issues displays validator comments and possible mistakes. Use the arrows to jump between frames containing issues. The eye icon toggles visibility of issues. The adjacent button toggles resolved issues. The last part we'll look at is the workspace. This is where images are displayed for annotators to work on. Everything related to creating and editing shapes happens here directly. Additionally, you can open the object menu by right-clicking on any object. A small panel will appear that is identical to the object tile in the object sidebar. All the same properties, functions, and information are available here. At the bottom right corner, you'll see the layer indicator. By clicking the plus button, you can create a new layer. You can also use the slider to switch between existing layers. We have finished reviewing the CVAT interface. Now, let's focus in more detail on what is especially important for an annotator: the key stages of the work. When an annotator logs into CVAT, the first thing they see is the Jobs page. This page shows all the tasks assigned specifically to them. From the list, they choose one task to start working on. After selecting a task, they enter the annotation interface. The first thing to do is open the instruction by clicking the Guide button. The instruction is a crucial reference. It clearly explains which objects need to be annotated, how exactly to do it, and what to pay attention to. Without the instruction, you simply cannot work properly. After reading the instruction, the annotator selects a tool, for example the rectangle or bounding box, and chooses the annotation mode. Shape mode if you need to annotate the object on a single frame only, or track mode if the object moves and you need to follow it through the entire sequence of frames. Then the annotation begins. The annotator marks objects on the frame using the selected tool. To speed up the process, they use keyboard shortcuts. For example, pressing N quickly creates a new object with the same settings, and pressing F moves to the next frame. Frame by frame, they annotate all the images in the task. When the work is done, the annotator changes the task status to completed or clicks Finish the job to indicate the annotation is finished. But everything we've just discussed is only the basics. It's the foundation you need to start, but it's not enough to become a really good annotator. Annotation is not just drawing rectangles. It's a complex process that requires attention, understanding the essence of the task, and the ability to handle ambiguous situations. To work quickly and accurately, you need to know the principles of annotation, understand types of errors, and master various techniques that help save time and maintain precision. That's why in this course, we will go through each tool available in CVAT in detail and use real project examples to show how and when to use them. You will learn not just to annotate, you will learn to do it correctly, confidently, and professionally.